Hey, greetings, everyone. Lieutenant Colonel Alan West, Senior Fellow at the Media Research Center. Recently I was reading about this thing called the Trump anxiety disorder. It seems that people are going to therapists and they're saying that they're very stressed out about the political climate, the political environment, that they have a sensing or a feeling that the world is coming to an end. When I was reading about this story, it kind of reminded me of a movie from back in 1975, 76, and it was called The Bad News Bears. I'm sure a lot of you all remember that movie. It had Walter Matthau. He was a drunk who was put in charge of a Little League baseball team. They were really bad. And they ended up playing for a championship, and they came real close. But the thing is this, they stepped up to the challenge. They didn't sit back and wait for a participation trophy. They didn't whine. They didn't complain. But that's not really the essence of what I want to talk to you about today. See, I think the reason why we have these people out here with this Trump anxiety disorder, and remember we used to hear about the Bush derangement syndrome also, is because the liberal progressive media has become the new bad news bears. If you tune into the alphabet media of the liberal progressive left, the ABC, the CBS, the NBC, PBS, all you get is just bad news. Think about what happened last week. We find out that we have a 4.1% GDP growth. That's just not good enough. They don't think it's going to last. They didn't want to talk about the fact that, well, Barack Obama in 8 years never even hit 2%. We're already at 4.1%, just a year and a half into the Trump administration. You think about what happened with the president of the European Union who came over. And now, because we have stood up to the EU, I think we're going to have zero tariffs going back and forth between our trading partners. And also think about the fact that new agricultural markets are going to be opened up to our farmers. And that kind of takes away a little bit of the sting of what we see happening with China. You look at what happened in Korea, and every single American should have had tears in their eyes, knowing that we are getting the repatriation of some of the missing in action men who served there in Korea. And to see those boxes of remains being brought back and to know that they will soon be home, that represents closure for so many Americans. But yet, what did you hear from the other side? Well, that wasn't all of them. They couldn't even be happy with the few that are starting to come home now. See, the bad news bears media spent all last week talking about, well, Trump's lawyer. And who really cares about some Playboy playmate when we have 4.1% GDP growth, when we have more jobs open than we have Americans to fill it, when we have 63,000 truck driver jobs that are open? See, I think what some of those folks who say they have Trump anxiety disorder should do, go out and get one of those truck driver jobs. Because I think one of the most therapeutic things is to be out there and drive on the open roads and see the grandeur of the United States of America. But that's not what it's all about. See, when you look at the anger, when you look at the angst, when you look at the edginess of the people on the progressive socialist left, it's because every single day, every single moment, every single minute, they're being fed by the bad news bears. There's nothing good happening in America. We are truly nearing the collapse of the world. Funny, when Barack Obama was president, we had ISIS running around all over the place, beheading Americans and beheading people and killing and raping women and children. Everything was fine. It was a world of rainbows. It was a world of Lucky Charms. It was a world of Skittles. To think about the fact that Crimea was overrun, Eastern Ukraine was overrun, a civilian airliner was shot down by the Russians. But maybe that's part of the flexibility that the left said nothing about. When you try to have an intellectual discussion or debate with someone on the left, when they realize how poorly armed they are to conduct such a debate or discussion, they just go into the anger mode. Because the bad news bears of the liberal media, well, they're not preparing them for any type of debate. And once you get them beyond their initial 10 to 15 second talking point, they're lost. And therefore, they react kind of like Whoopi Goldberg did with Judge Jeanine Pirro on The View. They just start screaming, yelling, and tell you to get going. Bye-bye. Because what they really are trying to show is they're insecure. They're not prepared. Because all they're getting is the negative media from the liberal progressive media. So this is what I want to see happen. Instead of the left acting like the little children in the cereal aisle of the grocery store and continuing to come up with these faux sicknesses and illnesses and medical conditions like Bush derangement syndrome and Trump anxiety disorder, maybe you guys should stop and smell the real roses and know that America's back to work, that our military is being rebuilt, that our economic engine is churning along like it has not done in quite some time, that we have a foreign policy that respects and regards us. Because if you continue to listen to, well, the bad news bears media, you will continue to believe that you have a mental condition. And as Dr. Michael Savage once said, postmodern liberalism is a mental illness. You guys are starting to make us believe that it is so.